What if you could knit your perfect summer wardrobe, 10 pieces, all made by hand? In 2025, that's exactly what I'm doing. Welcome to my Summer Knits Capsule Wardrobe Series, Episode 3. I'm Yvette. On this channel, I talk about all things art, from painting to knitting. In this video, I'll be sharing my 4th piece of the summer knitting capsule wardrobe. Thus far, I have knitted the Nata dress, the tee number 1, and in the previous video, I knitted the camisole number 9, which is what I am wearing right now. And in today's video, we are kind of following along the whole camisole tank top vibe. Before I tell you guys what I'll be knitting, I just want to talk a little bit about the camisole number 9. Someone gave a great suggestion in the previous video for me to talk a little bit more about this camisole and how it wears up over time. So thank you to the person who suggested that. And I think it's been maybe a month since I finished knitting this top, and I've worn it around 3 or 4 times since, and I love this top. I think it is really great. It is just a very nice and versatile top. It is good to be worn and paired with so many different things. If you saw my previous video under the styling category, you could see the many different ways in which I styled this top, and so far I've been really loving it. I think that this top is really breathable, it's really soft and comfortable, and I just love it. This top was knit in 3mm needles using Knitting for Olive cotton merino in the shade Dusty Blue Will, and I won't go too in-depth into it, but because of it being such a lightweight fingering weight yarn, I love it. I find that it is really light on my skin. It feels almost like a second skin, and it's just so comfortable. I cannot attest to the comfort of this top enough. Of course, I have not worn it enough times to give a proper diagnosis as to the success of this top, but so far I find that the top has been able to maintain its shape pretty well. I did not sew in any elastic for the neckline, and it still maintains its shape. It has not stretched out too much, and also I did not notice any peeling so far. With that being said, the top is so soft that I'm kind of worried that it will peel in the future, but I'm not so sure about that. I find that Knitting for Olive yarn is pretty durable, so I'm hoping it holds up with time, but for now it still looks good as new. The only thing that I wish I would have changed after using this top for a little bit more is to either knit this top shorter or knit this top a bit longer, because right now where it is at, sitting on my body, I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but right now where it is at on my body, it is kind of short. So this is still quite a good length and I'm still happy with it, but I just find it a little bit too short to be tucked in. When I tuck it in, it kind of doesn't stay there. After moving around for a little bit, it will start coming out again. So I wish that I knitted the top just a tad bit longer, or maybe even shorter, so that it doesn't interfere with the button band of my high-waisted jeans and my high-waisted shorts. But other than that, that's just a small thing that I wish I could tweak, but I'm not too affected by it. So now that I've finished talking about this camisole, let's move on to the video proper. So this next top that I'm going to be knitting is the twist loop top by Other Loops, and I love this top so much. I find that it is kind of an elegant version of the camisole number 9. I do love my camisoles and my tank tops, and I wear them all the time, and I find having this elevated, elegant, classy top will really add a lot to my wardrobe, and I can totally imagine myself wearing this top with like a skirt or some jeans, and it will look really, really nice. So this top I'm planning to knit in cotton merino from Knitting for Olive, once again in the shade Elephant Blue, and once again, this is the excess yarn from my Nata dress, same as the Dusty Blue Will yarn from my camisole number 9. And the only reason why I'm starting on this twist loop top next is because at the point in time, okay, let me just preface by saying that I'm filming this intro after I'm already done with the top. But at that point in time when I wanted to start knitting a new project, all my other yarn had yet to come. So I couldn't really start knitting any other summer pieces because those yarns weren't here yet. And so that's why I decided to start on the twist loop top. So once again, I'll be knitting this top in 3mm needles using 1 strand of this cotton merino yarn. So a short description on this twist loop top. It is a very nice classic ribbed knitted tank with a really nice cable detail down the front, and this rib is a 3x2 rib, so 3 knit stitches and 2 purl stitches. So the top is worked top down in rib stitch. So first you work the front and the back pieces separately before joining in the round, and then you knit all the way down to the length that you want it to be at. You bind off in pattern, and then you pick up stitches along the armholes for the I-cord edging, and then you do a folded neckline for the top. At this point in time when I'm filming this intro, I realized that Other Loops has actually done a slight modification to the neckline in the new pattern, so there is an update to this pattern. And when I did my knitting for the twist loop top, it was following the old pattern, so it's just a normal for the neckline, I think right now what she changed is to do some double knitting as well and to bind off using the Italian bind off as well. So those are the changes if you guys are interested to know. I will be knitting the size XS. I'm quite a small person, so whatever I knit is always the smallest size. So I will be knitting the size XS. So I've done my gauge swatch as well, and this is how it looks like. I think it looks really nice. I love the drape that it gives. This is post blocking, and so it is quite drapey. It is opaque as well, not too see-through, so I'm happy about that. So that is my gauge swatch. After blocking it, it is 36 stitches and 40 rows. However, the gauge calls for 32 stitches and 42 rows. So I am knitting on the tighter end of things. I'm not too concerned about the row gauge because that is something that's easily changeable for this pattern. However, for the stitch gauge, you would see later, but I actually just followed the pattern and I didn't really modify the pattern. I just knitted and casted on however many stitches the pattern called for, and in the end, I quite enjoyed the way it turned out because I do not mind having a little bit more negative ease when it comes to tank tops and camisoles. So I think that's all I have to talk about regarding this top. Without further ado, let's get on to the knitting process. I think maybe this is the 4th day of me working on the twist loop top, and this is all I have to show for it so far. I honestly haven't had that much time to knit as much as I want to just stay at home and knit all day. Unfortunately, I do have other things to do, which sucks, but I can't knit this like all day. But this is how it's looking like so far. And it is a very simple repeat of 3 knit stitches and 2 purl stitches on the right side, and I just did a provisional cast on for the top. And yeah, I am currently working on the front panels. I am not doing any increases, I believe. I'm just working back and forth and setting up the stage for the cables that will come soon. I have 3 more sets of rows to do before I can start working on the cables, so that's really exciting. And if you guys are curious, this is how I check to make sure that I'm always in focus with another mirror behind my camera. So this is my progress so far. I'm done with the front panel, and now I'm going to pick up for the back panel, and then I'm going to knit the back. And my goal for today, I have quite a lot of time, so I'm hoping to be able to at least finish the back panel and be able to join in the round. And I have a really cute Cookie Monster cup of green tea to accompany me along with my knitting as well. So I didn't manage to finish filming 2 days ago when I finished my intensive knitting session, of which I think I knitted for 8 hours that day. It was crazy, but I was so I only started with like this much on the front panel, and then by the time I was done that day, this was how much I did, which I think is pretty impressive. I even managed to join in the round and start knitting for this much more. However, I have reached the end of my first ball of yarn, and so I will open my second ball of yarn. Whenever I run out of a ball of yarn when I'm knitting the body, what I like to do is to put a pause on the body and to move on to knitting the neck and the armholes, and that's what I did for the T number 1 and the camisole number 9 as well. The idea is it's gonna cinch in a little bit after I pick up for the stitches, and so I want to know exactly where I want the final length of the body to be, and so I like my neck and my armholes to be done before I even start on the body. And so let's do the neck today. I'm not sure how much time I have before I have to leave actually, but we'll see. Let's do the neck first. It calls for 2.5mm needles, tiny needles. I am using the higher needles, by the way, if you guys are wondering. So as I'm picking up stitches, which is I actually need quite a lot of brain power to do, I want to explain why I prefer to do the finishes for the neckline and the armholes before I actually finish the body. And the reason why, I have two reasons for that. Actually, the first reason is like what I stated before. I do want the neckline and the armholes to be exactly where it's gonna be at the end, because you know, sometimes it comes out a little bit lax. Like I'm pretty sure the armhole is not gonna be this long. It's gonna cinch in a little bit for sure, and the cinching in is gonna cause the body to lie at a place a little bit higher than where it was at the start. Because of that, I want to know for sure where my body needs to end at, and I don't want to do like guess and check of like where I think the body's gonna end. I want to be exactly sure, and so because of that, I pick up stitches first. The next reason is because I find that picking up stitches and doing the finishes is always a bit of a menial task. I feel like I don't particularly enjoy doing that. I find it's a bit more tedious. It's a tedious process to do. It's very tedious to do that, and the worst part of it all is that it has to be done well. Like you can't just pick up like an arbitrary number of stitches and pray it works well. Like it's not gonna work that way. It has to be like even, and it has to be done well, and the finishes really make the piece either look really polished and look really nice, or makes it look really sloppy, like it screams handmade. So because of that, I do want to make sure that I spend a bit more time and TLC on my finishes. I do want to make sure that they are done well, and in order to do that, I want to do it in the middle of the project so that I'm not already anticipating getting it off my needles, getting the whole project off my needles. So I still am able to spend some time to make sure that my finishes are done well, rather than me actually finishing the whole project before doing the finishing touches and then rushing through it because I want to get it off my needles and start wearing it. I think for me at least, it gets me more excited to finish the project when I see that the project is already looking good and polished while I'm working the body. That's just a me thing, but I find that it helps me to firstly spend more time and effort on my finishes because I am still like in the mood to knit the project versus like in the mood to wear the project, if that makes sense. And the second reason is also because yeah, it just puts me in a better mood. I feel like I do a better job of the finishes overall, and so yeah, that's why I like to do the finishing touches while I am still in the middle of my project. Okay, so I'm done picking up stitches. I am currently, hold on. So I'm done picking up stitches. I've worked a few rounds as well. I am just supposed to knit a folded ribbed collar for the neckline, and yeah, I think it's going great so far. I do think I'm going to be done with my twist loop top. I do so want to be done because I've been doing 3x2 ribbing for the entire camisole and I am quite over this. This is how the camisole is looking like so far. It does look super long, but I do think that's because of the ribbing, which is causing the garment to be bunched in and hence looking a bit disproportionate. But when I've tried it on, trust me, it looks okay. It just looks really weird right now, pre-blocked. So this is the current state. This is where I'm at. I just have a few more rows to do actually. I tried it on last night and I think I'm just this much off in terms of the length. Like I just need to do this much more as of last night, and I have since done a little bit more. So I think I am just left with maybe like 3 rows left, and I think I can bind off. The pattern calls for a normal bind off in rib, but I'm not sure if that's something that I want to do. My past few projects have all been either a folded hem or like some sort of finishing for the edges, so just a normal regular ribbed bind off is something that I'm not sure if I'm going to do. I'm not sure how it'll look, but maybe I'll just follow the pattern and do what the pattern suggested, because yeah, why not? I am hoping to finish it today. I'm probably going to finish it today, but that's what I hope for. This is how it looks like. I think it looks so good. I am so happy, and yeah, currently on my third ball of yarn as well. This is using more yarn than my capsule number 9. And also, this is how much I've gotten done since Saturday, this yellow stitch marker, all the way down here. This is how much I've gotten done in the past 3 days, so I think it's been a really good progress so far. I've just been working on this project and wanting to get it done as soon as possible so that I can start casting on new projects. I feel like casting on a new project like so soon. So let me just show you my setup. I have my Netflix in the background and I have my trusty knitting project over here, as well as some tea that I got from Japan. This is the Ujicha, and I put the tea in this super adorable cup, if it will focus, but this cup is so cute. Look at that. It is Totoro. And honestly, you just need to give me my knitting project, my Netflix show, and my tea, and I will be the happiest girl on earth, and you probably wouldn't see me for days. So I decided to try on my top, and this is how it looks like currently. I am just wearing it over my t-shirt because I'm way too lazy, but I think the fit is really good. I do think it is not long enough yet. I want this top to be a bit longer so that I can tuck it in and it will look good. I think I want to do it, like I said, to the halfway point, so I think I'm off by like literally 3 more rows. I feel like I'm at the point of my project where every single row I'm like, this is it, this is the last row and I'm done. But I am in fact not done, and I still have a way to go. And so yeah, I'll catch you later. Hopefully the next time I try on this top I will really be done. I'm done with my capsule. I finished my last few rounds. I did try it on one last time and I think it's at a good enough length. I think it might grow a little bit more after I've blocked it. So I think I'm okay with this length for now, and I say I think because I'm not so sure if it's exactly the length that I want to do it to. Like, I can tuck it in, but I'm not sure if I want a little bit more of like still a slight bit more length. But knowing myself, knowing my style, I probably wouldn't appreciate too long a t-shirt either. So currently I am going to start binding off, and I decided that I'm just going to use the normal bind off and rip. I'll just follow the pattern and I shan't do anything too fancy on my own. So I'm currently finishing up my last few stitches before I finally get off to the binding off. Alright, so I've reached my stitch marker and I'm going to start binding off now. Let me just check that the bind off is indeed in rip. Yeah, okay, so bind off in rip. I'm going to be using a crochet hook for this, and this is the 4mm crochet hook. And I use a bigger size crochet hook so that my stitches will be nice and loose, and I'll still be able to put it over my head. So I've done the first few rows of the bind off, and this is how it looks like so far. And I think it looks neat enough, I guess. I feel like there's enough interest going on in the ribbing such that this bind off won't look too messy. That's how I'm trying to rationalize. So I think it looks fine. I'll just carry on with the rest of the bind off and we'll see how that goes. It saved me. I've been spending the past hour weaving in my ends, and there are still so many to weave in. I hate weaving in ends. I hate weaving in ends. I am seriously... Where's my needle? Initially I wanted to stop weaving in ends and just block it, but I since realized that the ends were probably all felt together. It was already getting knotted up as it was, just like that. So I decided that I have to do the discipline thing, which is to weave in my ends, and it's such an ordeal. I hate it. Like, if anyone is willing to weave in my ends for me, let me know. I finally managed to finish weaving in the impossible number of ends that appeared out of nowhere. Honestly, I don't even know where they came from. I didn't remember having so many ends until it was time to weave them in, and I realized that I had so many ends to weave in, and it took me a good hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to weave in all my ends. But this is how the final product looks like. I definitely made it a little bit shorter than what the pattern suggested by I think around 1 cm or so. And this is how it looks like. You can tuck it in, and I'm wearing my home shorts, so don't mind me. But this is how it looks like. I think it looks really good. It is such a lovely fit, and at first I was worried that this part might be going in a bit too much, but I think after blocking it would open up even more. And also I'm currently pretty happy with the fit of the top. Maybe I'm just hoping for the length to increase by just a little bit more, but even if it doesn't, I'm okay with it. The other thing that I'm hoping after blocking is for the cables to bloom even more and to just open up a little bit more. Right now the cables are looking just a little bit tight. It looks nice still, but I'm hoping that after blocking it would open up even more. And yeah, I think that's all I have to show for this top pre-blocking. This is how it looks like pre-blocking, and this is how the back looks like. The back looks pretty simple. It's just a normal ribbing pattern going on as well. So yeah, let's do some blocking. I'm back. This is my top, all washed and blocked, and I love how she looks like. I love how the cable details really opened up after blocking, and this is how it currently looks like. So some thoughts for my second project. I loved this pattern. I found it really fun and interesting to follow. I feel like the instructions were super clear. She was really concise with her instructions, so I knew exactly what to do, and the explanations were really clear but not too wordy that you will feel inundated when looking through the pattern instructions. With this top, I know I said that I was thinking of doing a folded edge for the armholes as well, but I eventually decided to scrap that idea and follow the pattern designer and knit the I-cut edging. So my armholes are all I-cut edges if I haven't said that already. And a few things that I changed about this pattern. The first thing was the length of this top. I think I made it a bit shorter than what the pattern designer suggested, but I didn't measure the length of this top, so I don't know exactly to what length I knitted it to. I just honestly tried it on as I was going and seeing when was a good time for me to bind off. And the second thing that I did differently was the same as my camisole number 9. I knitted all the way. Before finishing off for the body, I did the finishing for the neckline and the armholes just so that I know where the body would end up at, and that's when I went back in and continued working on my body. So those were the only two things I changed for my twist loop top, I believe. A couple of things that I wished I changed though. There were two of them. The first thing is that I wished I made the armhole depth a little bit more shallow. So this is the depth right now. It is pretty low. It does cover my bra, but just barely, and I do not really like that because I'm just worried that if my top were to stretch out over time, or if I were to maybe bend down, then the armhole will reveal my bra, and I just don't like that look. And I know that some people commented on Ravelry as well that they felt that the armhole depth was a bit too deep. So that's just something for you guys to take note of. If you guys are planning to knit this pattern as well, you might want to modify the armhole depth. That's just something that I wish I did. The next thing that I wish I modified as well is the spaces in between the two cables. I just it's a little bit hard for me to explain, but basically for the entire length of my body, there are 3 pattern repeats which are in the form of the cables and then the ribbing that follows afterwards. And you can see that over here and here the lengths are the same. However, for this point over here, I actually knitted the ribbing much shorter because I wanted the length to end off right over here. And I just wish I had the foresight to see that the patterns wouldn't be equally spread out if I were to change the length of the pattern, but unfortunately I didn't. And by the time I realized that the ribbing over here would be a bit too short. It was too late and I didn't want to go back to frog everything. So if I were to redo this pattern again, what I would change is maybe the length of the ribbon for the first 2 cables will be shortened by a few rows, and those rows will be added right at the end so that all 3 pattern repeats will be a little bit more equal. So that's just something I would change if I wanted to be super nitpicky, but I would say this project on a whole was a huge success and I'm super happy about it. One last thing as well is that this pattern is definitely not bra friendly. I'm wearing a strapless bra, otherwise it would show at the top part over here and at the back as well. The back is super yeah, you can see the back is, you can see that the back cuts in quite a bit as well. So it is not bra friendly. However, with that being said, I do believe that the cutting of this top is made this way to give it a little bit more of an elegant look as well. And I find that if you were to widen off this area over here and even the area at the back to accommodate a bra strap, then the pattern will just not look the same and the top will just not look so elegant anymore. At least those are my thoughts. So moving on to some statistics for this twist loop top. The statistics were pretty interesting. Once again, I said it at the start of the video, but I will reiterate it right now again. The yarn I'm using is Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in the shade Elephant Blue. I used 2.25 balls for this. I do not have a weighing scale, so I do not know exactly how much of the 3rd ball I used, but I'm just gonna do a rough estimate that I used maybe 1/4 of the ball. I just barely scratched the surface for that ball. So the yardage for that is 562.5 meters. I started 23rd May and ended 18th June. That is slightly less than a month. So I definitely took longer in terms of the entire duration for the twist loop top as compared to the camisole number 9. The hours spent, however, was only 34 hours and 42 minutes compared to the camisole number 9, which was 35 hours and 26 minutes. So I spent approximately maybe 40 minutes more for the camisole number 9. So that was my statistics for the twist loop top. I find that this top all in all was really fun to make, and so I would definitely recommend this top if you guys are looking for a little more upscale, elegant kind of project. So let's move on to how I style this top. So when it comes to styling this twist loop top, I do think that I really want its cable details and its full out ribbing to shine, and because of that I would choose to steer clear of any accessories. I wouldn't really wear any necklaces or earrings with this top in particular, and I would also choose to put my hair up in an updo, maybe a ponytail or a low bun. And with regards to pairing, I would love to pair my top with a bit more elegant feminine clothes. So for example, floral shorts instead of jeans shorts, and also long flowy skirts as well, because I feel like this top has such an elegant vibe, and so the entire look that I'm going for when it comes to this top would also be an elegant feminine kind of vibe. So that is how I would style this top. So that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have knit this top before or are planning to knit it soon, do let me know what yarn you are planning to make it with and how the process was for you. And otherwise, I will see you guys in the next episode where I share my next summer project. Bye!